Well, in this book, Jupiter has a surface underneath the clouds where rather gaseous beings live.
They could communicate only by precisely modulated gastric emission.
Oh no! Planet of the bottom bugs.
Oh, come on, a fart joke? That's just juvenile.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh, don't start that again. But yeah, when you're dealing with science fiction from the 50s, you really have to keep in mind what scientific facts were known at the time. Or rather, the ones that weren't known.
Seriously, Betty, you know what this meteor could mean to science. It could mean actual advances in the field of science.
You just have to take things like gas giants having a surface and natives on Mars with a grain of salt. I actually read a critique of The Brass Dragon last week where the commenter dismissed the book because it suggested that Mars has a thin, cold atmosphere. While we now know scientifically that Mars has a thin, cold atmosphere. Speaking of Mars and its atmosphere, the Martians are quite important early in the story, working with humans for a while, but then they seem to just go extinct off page, as they stop doing anything, and the entire reason that Bruce Webster uplifts dogs in the first place is to have another species to walk besides humanity, mainly in order to solve a puzzle that a dead Martian was close to solving. Hey Rattlebear, what's a 5-letter word for prestidigitation? Yeah, that wasn't much help. Also, like I said, they bring up once intelligent, or at least semi-intelligent, life on Venus, but they don't mention it ever again. You see, humans aren't able to survive on planets such as Venus or Jupiter, for obvious reasons. And it was on Venus that they tested out a procedure where they'd make a body of one of the sentient denizens of the planet, or an avatar, if you will, and then a human would download their mind into said avatar so that they could go out on the planet without dying instantly. And while in these bodies, they experienced wonders unknown to their original form. And if all of this sounds familiar to you, it's probably because it was in that one episode of the Smurfs. Only one dog in the book gets an avatar, though, both because they don't have the internet and because they have no interest in space travel. Possibly because it's old hat for them, being the first animals in space. Or they just want to leave that stuff to the apes.
This is Joe. In very poor taste.
But actually they're not interested in other worlds because they're more interested in other dimensions.
Parallel dimensions, of course. Two worlds existing at the same time in the same space, on the same planet, but on a different plane.
You see, has your dog ever barked at something that wasn't there? It's not because he's schizophrenic. It's because he is able to pierce the veil and see the worlds that run beside ours. Hey, there's a White Wolf series I haven't mentioned yet. Well, like I said, the dogs are not humanoid. Also, they're being bred by humans, so they are dogs, not wolves. Close enough. Yep, it's perfect. Except that the other worlds are parallel dimensions, as physical as ours, not some shadow realm. Fine, it doesn't work at all. But anyway, these dogs are not only able to perceive the other dimension, but without the know-it-all humans around to tell them to stop barking at ghosts, and with their robot assistants, they were able to figure out how to breach these boundaries and actually enter them.
A demented
Dog.
in another dimension.
However, Jenkins asked the dogs to search this multiverse to see if there's a way he can go to the past and maybe prevent one of the Websters from destroying all of humanity. But they find that the past just isn't out there. Probably because the Langoliers ate it all. So time travel is one sci-fi cliche this book avoids entirely. Speaking of, it's pretty clear that this is the first work I've done from the early 50s, as it includes none of the things I've grown accustomed to on this series. The sexual content of the late 60s. blunt political messages of the 70s.
Stop the war! Freedom!
Hell, even the pointless action of 90s remakes. And, most shocking for me now, there isn't even a hint of racism. Not only is there no internal racism mentioned among the humans, or between breeds of dogs, there's no racism between the different species. Humans get along well with dogs, with robots, with Martians. Hell, it's only the mutants' wish to remain separate from everyone, including other mutants, that makes there be any rift there. They just keep drawing the hermit instead of the lovers. And, like I said, the dogs make a society of all the animals on Earth, and none are more equal than others. Don't get me wrong, I'm not suggesting there wasn't racism in the 50s. That would be a ridiculously stupid claim. Nor am I suggesting that it didn't exist in the literature of the time, or even the science fiction of the time. As I mentioned in my There Will Come Soft Rains review, Way in the Middle of Air is all about race relations in the South, and that was written in the early 50s. The same is true about sexuality or political messages. Hell, the same is true about action and adaptations. It's just that it got more pervasive as time progressed, as one can tell by comparing the original release of Stranger in a Strange Land to the uncut version. But that's a discussion for another day. Right now, it's nice to get away from all of that and have this nice, innocent story about the end of all of humanity.
I came here with a simple dream. A dream of killing all humans.
Actually, I'm not taking back that statement. This is a simple, innocent story about the end of humanity. Like I said, there's no nuclear war in this book. There is not a single drop of bloodshed in the end of the human race. It is an entirely peaceful genocide.
Are you familiar with the old robot saying, "Does not compute"?
Yes, I know it might sound like a contradiction of terms, but the entire human race is killed with kindness. How do you ask? Well, you'll just have to read it to find out.
Dun dun dun!
Which is something that I hope you will do. I set out to do a positive review of a great book, and I think I pulled that off. City is something you should go out and find, as well as other things by Clifford D. Simak. While I haven't read a lot of his works, everyone that I have has been great. So, we looked at the world from a dog's eye view. What do you think I should do next?
Walking down Broadway, each footstep is a new love letter. I'm trying to make eye contact with each and every stranger that I pass. I'm thinking about the city. It's living proof people need to be together. I'm thinking about how I just want to open up and give and give and give. It's okay for you to care, 'cause I can feel you in the air. While you wonder, how's this gonna end? I only wanted to be
Oh, it's magic. See, I didn't need a dog to figure this out. Alright, now what's an 8-letter word for bushy-tailed rodent?
Squirrel!